Picture this. A famous professional boxer earns over $400 million in his lifetime. 400 million. That's not a typo. He's at the top of the world, private jets, mansions across 3 states, exotic animals as pets, and, I need you to hear this, a $2 million bathtub that cost more than most people's houses. And then, within a few years, he is $23 million in debt. Not broke, negative broke. Now here's the question that should keep you up at night. If someone can earn 400 million and still end up with nothing, what does that say about your salary? Today, I'm going to show you 5 brutal truths about how money actually works, not what school taught you, not what your parents told you, the real psychology behind why some people earning $50,000 a year retire richer than people pulling 6 figures. Stay until the end. Lesson 5 is the one that changed everything for me. Luck is more real than you think. Let's start with something that might be uncomfortable. You are not fully in control of your financial outcome. I know. We love the idea that if you just grind hard enough, wake up at 5 a.m., hustle on weekends, success is guaranteed. But the truth, the one most finance gurus won't say, is that luck and risk shape your life more than any productivity hack ever will. Here's a story. 2 teenagers, same city, same hunger, same obsession with technology. One grows up to build one of the most valuable companies in human history. The other dies in an accident before he even finishes school. Same starting point, completely different outcomes. The difference wasn't intelligence, it wasn't work ethic. It was a single stroke of luck. One of them happened to attend one of the only schools in the entire country that had access to a computer in the 1960s, a machine that was so rare most adults had never even seen one. That one lucky break, not talent, not hustle, gave him a decade's head start on the rest of the world. Now, contrast that with some of the most brilliant stock traders in history, people who built fortunes from nothing through sheer skill, who then lost everything when an economic crash hit that no one saw coming. Were they stupid? No. Were they unlucky? Absolutely. Here's the lesson. Success is never 100% skill. Failure is never 100% stupidity. And this matters because of the way we judge people. When we see someone rich, we assume they made all the right moves. When we see someone struggling, we assume they made all the wrong ones. But we ignore the invisible forces, the timing, the connections, the circumstances of birth that shaped both outcomes. This doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you stop being arrogant when things go well, and you stop being too hard on yourself when things don't. Play your best game, but stay humble, because the market, life, and timing don't care about your plans. Making money and keeping money are 2 different skills. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the people who make the most money are often not the ones who keep it? We love the story of the entrepreneur who bets everything and wins, the trader who calls the right move and doubles his portfolio overnight, the content creator who blows up and starts making crazy money. But then, 6 years later, they're broke. And everyone's confused. How? Here's how. Getting wealthy requires risk. Staying wealthy requires avoiding it. To build wealth, you have to take bold moves, start the business, make the investment, back yourself when no one else will. You need optimism, the belief that the future will be better than the present. But once you have money, that same aggressive mindset becomes your enemy. Because the people who lose fortunes don't lose them by being too cautious. They lose them by continuing to play offense when they should have switched to defense.
They assume the good times are permanent. They over-leverage. They stop respecting how fragile wealth actually is. Think about lottery winners, people who go from zero to millions overnight, and how the majority end up broke within 5 years. Not because they're stupid, because they never learned that keeping money requires a completely different psychology than making it. The antidote? Humility, patience, and the understanding that surviving long enough is itself a strategy. The greatest investors in the world aren't the ones chasing the highest returns. They're the ones who have been playing the game for 60 years without blowing up.
Survival is the move. The goal isn't to make money once. The goal is to never have to worry about money again. And the only way to get there is to protect what you build, long enough for it to grow. Saving isn't about things, it's about freedom. Okay, I can already hear you. Ralph, don't tell me to stop buying coffee. Don't worry, that's not what this is. Most people think saving money means delayed spending. Save now, buy something bigger later. And that's fine, but it's thinking too small. Real saving isn't about buying things. Real saving is about buying back your time. Let me paint you 2 pictures. Person A works a job he can't stand. Toxic boss, long hours, no respect. Every Monday feels like a prison sentence. But he can't leave because he has 0 savings. He's 1 missed paycheck away from not making rent, so he stays and stays and stays. Person B works a similar job, same frustrations, but over the past few years, she's been quietly stacking money on the side. Nothing flashy, no one's clapping for her. And then one day, the job becomes unbearable, and she walks away. Not dramatically, not recklessly, just calmly, because she can. Same income, completely different levels of freedom. That's what savings buys you. Not a nicer car. Options. The ability to say no to things that drain you. The ability to take a risk on a new opportunity without panicking. The ability to weather an emergency without it becoming a crisis. Here's the hard truth, though. Saving doesn't feel good in the moment. Spending feels amazing. Buy a car, people notice. Post it online, you get attention. But save $500 quietly into an account, nobody sees it, nobody claps. And that invisibility is exactly why most people don't do it. But the wealthiest people in the world aren't chasing applause. They're building options. Because the most valuable thing money can buy is not needing more of it. Real wealth is invisible. In 2014, a man died at 92 years old in a small American town. He'd spent his whole life working ordinary jobs, pumped gas, pushed a mop, drove a second-hand car, wore the same jacket for decades. By all appearances, he was just a regular guy getting by. When he died, people discovered he had quietly left behind $8 million. Nobody saw it coming because nobody could see his wealth. And that's exactly the point. Wealth is not what you show. Wealth is what you keep. We live in a culture obsessed with visible success. The car, the clothes, the watch, the lifestyle. And we've been trained to read wealth through these signals. So when someone pulls up in a car worth more than a house, we assume they're rich. But here's what we don't see. We don't see the finance payments. We don't see the credit card bills. We don't see that same person lying awake at 2 a.m. wondering how to cover next month's lease. Looking rich and being rich are 2 completely different games. Anyone can look rich, swipe a card, finance a lifestyle, post a highlight reel. But being rich, that's about the numbers nobody else sees. The savings account, the investment portfolio,
the absence of debt, the boring stuff that doesn't make for good Instagram content, but builds a life that doesn't require performing for anyone. Here's a question worth sitting with. Why does Warren Buffett, one of the world's wealthiest investors, still live in the same modest house he bought over 60 years ago? Not because he can't afford something bigger, because he figured out early that freedom is more valuable than the appearance of success. The janitor with $8 million understood that too. He wasn't building a brand, he was building a life. Wealth is the money you didn't spend, and the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're okay, even when no one's watching. Your emotions are the biggest threat to your money. Here's the truth that most financial advice refuses to say out loud. Money is not a math problem, it's a psychology problem. All the spreadsheets, all the formulas, all the optimized budget templates in the world mean nothing if you can't manage what you feel when your portfolio drops 40% in a week. Because here's what actually happens. You read all the right books, you know the strategy, keep investing, stay the course, never panic sell. You know this. And then the market crashes, and suddenly your brain is screaming that everything is on fire. You're going to lose it all. Get out now. And before you know it, you've done the one thing every expert told you not to do. You sold. And you locked in a loss that a little patience would have erased. This is how most people lose money, not through ignorance, through emotion. So what's the fix? Stop trying to be perfectly rational with money. Start trying to be consistently reasonable. Here's the difference. Rational thinking says this investment strategy has the highest mathematical return over 50 years, so I'll execute it perfectly, regardless of what the market does. Reasonable thinking says, this strategy makes sense, but I know myself. If everything crashes, I'll panic, so I'll keep a small cash buffer that makes me feel secure, even if it costs me a little return. Because a plan I can stick to beats a perfect plan I'll abandon. One is optimized on paper, the other works in real life. The best investors aren't the ones with the highest IQ. They're the ones who understand their own emotional triggers and build a system around them. And this applies to you, too. You don't need the perfect budget. You need a budget you'll actually follow. You don't need the highest yielding investment. You need one you won't panic sell at the worst possible time. The best financial plan isn't the one with the best numbers, it's the one you can live with. Because money isn't just numbers, it's feelings. And the sooner you make peace with that, the sooner your finances start to change. So let's bring it all together. 1. You're not fully in control, so stay humble. 2. Making money and keeping money are different skills. 3. Savings buys you freedom, not just things. 4. Real wealth is what nobody sees. 5. Your emotions are your biggest financial risk. These aren't theories. This is how money actually behaves in real life. Now, information without action is just entertainment. So before you close this video, pick one thing from today and apply it this week. Just one. And if this hit different for you, subscribe, because every week I'm breaking down the money concepts they never taught us. Your future self is already watching. Let's build something real.